So let's go ahead and talk about feeling heard. And there's really like two things that I think are kind of like the big issues right now going on. And that's, of course, people spending so much time with their face down in their phone that they're not having real conversations and really engaging in that dialogue that will keep that connection alive. If you're in the middle of something and she starts talking, put it down. I know that when I listen to a lot of podcasts, I'll be getting ready in the bathroom or whatever, and I'm always listening to a podcast on YouTube. And so when my husband comes in to the room, I'll pause the podcast because I want to be able to listen to him. It is not the same thing for you to be looking down at your phone when someone is talking to you. And this can be like in all relationships. Like, it's just rude. Like, if you're trying to engage in a conversation, like, put your phone down and face it down. It's just so much easier that way. I am not pointing the fingers. This is something I personally need to work on, but it's really a problem in our relationships nowadays where we are just so fixated on everything going out in the outside world that we have completely lost our ability to allow the other person in our relationship to feel heard. And this is so important to women because a lot of times, like, my husband will come home. He has all these great stories to tell me. I work from home. I'm pretty isolated. There's not a whole lot of adventure that goes on in my day. And so if there is something of interest that I'm like, oh, hey, I finally have something to tell him, and I don't get his attention, like if he's not listening to me, it makes you feel really sad. I know this is not how you guys bond. I know that talking is not important to you. But if you want to connect with your wife, if you want her to feel loved, you have to make it a priority for you to listen to her actively and participate in this conversation, and don't just brush off how important that is. And another thing that happens that's super frustrating, and I know particularly for me in my relationship, is that we've been together for so long, oftentimes you guys think you know where we're going with something. So what will happen is you'll start cutting us off and be like, oh, I know where this is going. Well, no, you don't know where it's going. You think you know where it's going, but you don't know where it's going. I will stop talking and I will rewind like a cassette tape and I'll start the whole thing all over again. It's very frustrating. Don't do this to your wife. Don't cut off her ability to feel heard because she will not feel loved. Another mistake that men make when in regards to allowing a woman to feel heard is that many times during conflict, a man will just say, well, I'm not talking about this anymore. Like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to dive too much into this because I just spoke about that in another video. But women digest and are able to process and get over an emotional experience by talking. And if you are unwilling to come to the table and have these conversations because you think she's being ridiculous or she shouldn't feel this way or whatever the reason may be, you are not allowing her to feel heard. And she cannot process and get over whatever the issue is at that time. And at the same time, you're violating her ability to feel loved by you because she's thinking he doesn't even care enough to give me the opportunity to discuss it. And what's even worse is if you make her feel stupid or ridiculous for feeling a certain way. And I understand women are emotional and illogical, but at any time, if you're feeling that she's being ridiculous for feeling a certain way, don't express that sentiment. So